So, governments all over the world are trying to get a handle on illegal stuff online. Piracy, gambling, all of that. And their go-to solution? Just block the websites. Simple enough, right? But what if that simple tool is actually causing way more harm than good? Today, we're going to break down the massive hidden cost of website blocking.
This analogy, this is the perfect way to think about it. It really gets right to the heart of the problem. When you use these huge, clumsy network-level blocks to go after one bad website, you often end up taking down countless legitimate businesses, schools, even hospitals that just happen to live on the same digital street. That's the core issue we're getting into.
Look, you can kind of see where they're coming from, right? The goal makes sense. Stop copyright theft, shut down illegal sites, get rid of harmful content. And from a distance, blocking seems like a super quick, easy fix you can apply everywhere. But the way the internet is actually built makes this so-called simple solution incredibly dangerous. All right, so to really get why these blocking attempts go so spectacularly wrong, we need to pop the hood for a quick second and see how you find anything online. It really just comes down to two key ideas. First up is something called the domain name system, or DNS. The best way to think of it is literally as the phone book for the internet. You know the name you want to visit, like example.com, and the DNS is what looks up the actual number that your computer needs to connect. It's totally essential for getting anywhere on the web.
And that number that the DNS finds, well, that's an IP address. This is the actual physical street address for a server out there on the internet. It's the destination. So the DNS finds the address, your computer goes there. Pretty simple, right? Okay, so this brings us to the two main ways that blocking happens. DNS blocking is like tearing a page out of that phone book. The address still exists, but good luck finding it. IP blocking is way more extreme. That's like putting a giant barricade at both ends of the street. Nothing gets in or out. To a policymaker, these both look like pretty easy, effective weapons to use. But this is where it all starts to fall apart. So you've got these two tools. You find a bad website, you tell the internet service providers to either block its phone book entry or its whole street address. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? Well, as it turns out, just about everything.
Let's take a look at a real-world example, Italy. In 2024, they rolled out this thing called the Piracy Shield. The idea was to let sports leagues block illegal streams super fast, like within 30 minutes of a request, with no judge, no court, nothing. A quick fix for a really annoying problem. The results? It was an absolute catastrophe. The system was so clumsy that it accidentally blocked a critical IP address from a company called Cloudflare. Instantly, countless completely unrelated, totally legal websites just vanished for hours. It also took down a huge chunk of Google Drive, making it unusable for the entire country. They shut down a whole digital city block just to stop one guy, and they locked millions out of their homes and offices in the process. And you know what? This isn't a new problem, and it's definitely not just an Italy problem. Way back in 2011, law enforcement in the US seized a domain to target just a couple of bad sites. By doing that, they accidentally took down 84,000 completely innocent websites along with it. It's just the perfect example of using a sledgehammer when what you really need is a scalpel. And this just keeps happening all over the world. It's a pattern. In Spain, they tried to block sports piracy and ended up knocking thousands of businesses offline. In Austria, an order to block just 14 bad sites took out thousands of good ones. And in France, the whole situation got so messy that a huge company, Cisco, just gave up and pulled its popular DNS service from the entire country. This isn't an accident anymore. It's what happens when you use these bad tools. So yeah, the immediate damage, the broken websites, that's shocking enough. But the true cost of these policies goes so much deeper. It actually starts to affect the basic structure and the economics of the entire global internet. So let's ask that question directly. What really happens to an economy, to new ideas, and to the internet as we know it, when any legitimate business can just be knocked offline at any moment with absolutely no warning? Well, the economic damage is huge. You've got service providers spending tons of money to build these broken blocking systems. Legitimate businesses are losing money every single minute their website is down. Investors get scared, new ideas dry up, and small businesses just can't take on that kind of risk. And, like we saw in France, when the big global companies leave, everyone has fewer choices and less competition. And all of this leads to an even bigger, scarier threat, something called internet fragmentation. Instead of having one single global internet that works the same for everybody, we start building all these digital borders. The internet in one country starts to work differently than the internet next door. This completely breaks the whole promise of what the internet was supposed to be. Okay, so if network blocking is a clumsy, destructive, expensive failure, what's the alternative? How are we supposed to fight illegal content online without, breaking the internet for everybody else? The solution is actually way simpler and a lot more logical. Just go to the source. Instead of trying to block every single road that leads to the problem building, you just go directly to the building itself and deal with the problem there. You target the illegal content right on the server where it lives. And the process is super straightforward. Step 1, you find the specific illegal file. Step 2, you tell the company that's hosting it. Step 3, they take it down from their server. And the result? The content is actually truly gone. Not hidden, not harder to find. It's completely removed for every single person on Earth with absolutely zero collateral damage. And hey, this isn't just some nice idea on a slide. It really works. In 2024, law enforcement in Vietnam dismantled F-movies, which was one of the biggest piracy operations in the world. They didn't do it by blocking a bunch of IP addresses. They did it with smart, targeted legal action against the people running it. They went to the source and shut it down for good. So when you put it all side by side, it really comes down to this. Network blocking is clumsy. It causes a huge mess, and worst of all, it doesn't really work because the content just pops up somewhere else. Source removal, on the other hand, is precise, it's clean, and it's effective because it actually gets the illegal content taken offline permanently. All right, so let's just do a quick recap. Number 1, network blocking is a bad tool that causes massive, predictable damage to innocent people. 2, it doesn't even really solve the problem. 3, the economic costs and the risk of literally breaking the internet are enormous. And 4, there's a much, much better way to do this, and that's by going after the content at its source. Which really leaves us with this final, critical question. The urge to find a simple, fast fix for complicated online problems, that's understandable. But when that fix threatens the stability, the economy, and the basic architecture of the entire global internet, you have to stop and ask, is that quick fix really worth breaking everything?